Thanks for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Sorry about the clash in schedules.
it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. We are glad we could have you joining. So I guess we all have busy schedules and all, but out of a busy schedule, you've taken our time to be here. So we really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Okay, so we'll be starting right away. Actually, the STEAM Girls Talk Show is going to be recorded and then streamed live on YouTube. It's streaming live right now on our YouTube, and of course, you can always refer girls around us to it, and then to those of them in the school clubs in schools, the STEM Girls school clubs that we have in school. Some of the students might not be able to join now, but could be able to watch later and then drop their questions or whatever they have as challenges for the mentors.
That's fine.
All right, so give me some minutes. Let's start right away.
All right.
Okay, good evening, ma'am. And good evening, everyone. And thank you for joining, coming on the call. Of course, as we all know, this is another episode of our STEM Girls virtual space, a platform through which our mentors are able to connect with girls out there that are aspiring to for the fields of STEM and as a career path and all. Okay, so STEM Girls Virtual Space is a program of the African Girls Empowerment Network, and this initiative basically seeks to advance the gender equality in girls' education, and then to promote girls' enrollment in STEM education and seeing them at the forefront of STEM, and then for their inclusion and inclusive participation in STEM careers and all. So, okay, so as we commence, we would like everyone to mute their microphones during the show. Please, we also request that we would like to also inform everyone that this show will be recorded, and then it is actually streamed live on YouTube. So we can always go back to it and watch, and as well as share with some girls out there and that might need this also. Please also request that everyone use the chat box. If you have a question or any comment, please kindly use the chat box or drop us a message. Sure, we'll attend to those questions that you have for our woman here. Also, if you're experiencing connection problems, enable a low bandwidth mode and reduce your video quality. Okay, thank you so much for waiting, and thank you, Dr. Tommy, for honoring our invitation. It's really an honor to have you on the call today. Yeah, because you know a lot of girls out there are looking forward to learning a lot from you today. They might not be joining via this Zoom call, but then a lot of them will be having access to this via Facebook and the YouTube platform. So we'll be sharing from the YouTube to Facebook, and then other of their platforms, the WhatsApp groups where the STEM girls belongs and where they keep communication. So as we commence, we start right away. Yes. Women, as we know, are no less than any man in any field. Over time, we've seen several examples of women excelling in STEM fields and serving the society for a larger cause. We at the STEM Girls Initiative, we aim to groom girls with the same kind of inspiration and zeal at the heart to excel in STEM fields and do their best. This talk show is a platform for women in STEM to talk to the girls aspiring to excel in it. And we are sure that after the girls and all other audience hear from our guests today, they will be inspired to reach the stars. And during the talk show, we would be conversing with a woman in the fields of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, a woman who has made a mark and has now graciously taken the time to share with us wisdom and our experience in the field. So thank you so much, Dr. Tommy Owubetu. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right.
Yeah, good try. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so as we proceed, we would love to do a brief intro of the great woman we'll be hosting today. Dr. Tomi is a Nigerian public health physician and an hospital consultant at the University College Hospital in Ibadan. She holds an MSc in Global Health from the University of Ibadan and certifications in Global Tobacco Control and Non-Communicable Diseases Prevention, Equality Management in Healthcare, and Sexual and Reproductive Health. Her research focus is on global health, non-communicable diseases, and reproductive health. She has worked on the front lines of COVID-19 response in Oyo State. Wow, that's great. Overseeing risk communication and community engagement activities. She has published over 40 scientific articles in peer-reviewed journals and has worked with agencies and non-governmental organizations on public health programs in Nigeria. She also consults for the tobacco control desk at the Federal Ministry of Health. That's great, ma. Good to meet you and good to have you on the call today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, I know there are very much more addition to this bio. Yes, there are plenty more to know about this. Okay, so as we proceed, we would love to say a very big thank you to our amazing partners for their endless support for us and helping this program continue running to date. We say a very big thank you to NGOCSW, African Women Development Fund, Matric Cassis, COPS International Trade Limited, and Benefiti Courses. Thank you so much for your support. All right, so, and I don't know if you're ready for our questions, ma.
Not sure.
All right, that's great. Okay, so because we really can't wait to learn from you. Okay, so we start with some of the questions that we have here. The first question we have for you is that what is your field of study and what got you interested in it?
Well, thank you. Thank you very much once again, and thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
So what's my field of study? Well, I studied medicine and surgery in the university, trained to be a doctor for 6 years at the University of Ibadan, and then proceeded to train for another 6 years in residency, where I studied community medicine or public health, trained in public health for another 6 years to complete residency and become a consultant or fellow of the West African College of Physicians. So my background is medicine and then public health. And then I did a master's, as you already said, in global health. So yes, that's what I studied.
Okay, that's great. And what has got your interest in it?
Okay, interesting question. So my mom is a nurse. My mom's a nurse. My mom's a nurse with a PhD. So I used to follow her to work. We used to go and pick her up from work as a child. Once school was over, my school was near our workplace, and I'd see her speak her. You know, after school, I used to see her uniform. Sometimes we used to enter into the hospital also if she had something to do. And that sparked my interest in medicine. I think I wanted to be a lawyer at first, but we had a conversation one day and she was like, you should consider being a doctor. So I thought about it, gave it some more thought. And I thought I was very happy whenever we went to pick her up. I was happy to see people walking the corridors wearing white coats and all of that. And I was like, yeah, I think I want to be a medical doctor. That's what sparked my interest in it and has retained my interest so far. Yeah.
Wow, that's great. So what has inspired you to becoming who you are today? Is it just the uniform from your mom and or were there some other, do you had some mentors or something?
Excellent question. What has inspired me to stay till now? Well, funny enough, I think that one of the things that initially even sparked my interest and wanted me to stay was I used to experience very painful periods every month. And I said to myself that, it would be good to be able to provide some relief for myself, for other girls, people don't really, periods should not be this painful. And so that was something else again that sparked my interest. And I knew that the only way to do that then was probably to go into medicine and learn to understand the human body. Secondly, I've had mentors. I've had very, very fantastic mentors who took interest in me. And I've made it very inspiring for me. So I have mentors at the global level, at the hospital level. I've also had a mentor who is super accomplished in his own field. And that's the person I've followed, who has opened doors, opened opportunities, helps me to be grounded in learning, helps me to focus, help me to understand how careers can go and what I should be thinking about and what I should be doing and all of that. And so I think that that's been a very pivotal relationship in my life. That's mentoring. And then I have peer mentors. I have a couple of people that are also on my level, they're not on my level so they're my friends, they're my peers, they're my colleagues, but I also make sure that they are more accomplished than myself. And so I'm able to look at them, learn from them, see what I should be doing, and see what I shouldn't be doing. And that has maintained my interest. So I have mentoring vertically and also horizontally. And I think that's been super pivotal for me.
That's great. That's great. Okay, so our next question is, tell us about the difficult situations, challenges you have overcome in pursuing a career in STEM as a woman.
So that's a good question, because I'm not sure that anybody is able to build something of substance that doesn't have times when they face challenges. And I think that, two incidents come to mind. To enter into medicine, I had to first of all go in through biochemistry and then get the required or requisite GPA to be able to cross into medicine, because it was biochemistry that was offered first of all. Or I had the option to go and do dentistry, and I didn't want to do dentistry. So that meant that I had to enter into biochemistry, and I wasn't even sure whether I was going to make the requisite GPA, whether I was going to be able to cross to medicine, and that was a whole challenge on itself. That was a whole challenge by itself, did everything it took. And eventually I got in after so much, so many things that happened. I eventually got in, which was the first stage. And then you would think that because I had that drive and ambition to get into medicine and all of that, that it was going to be a smooth sail. Well, it wasn't. So I think that I had receipts in medical school. So that meant that I had to recite some exams after people had passed and moved on, waiting for the next session or semester to start. I had to sit back and rewrite the exams in maybe 3 months or 6 months, reading what my classmates had already passed. And it wasn't just one time. And those challenges, I felt that, they built character in me. They helped me to see that there was a way that it wasn't everybody that was in school that wasn't reading. There were people that were reading, number one. It made me realize that you can be reading and you can be reading wrongly. You can be focused. There's a way that the exams are set, and there's a way that you can read that. You will not pass that exam because you are not preparing in the way that those exams are set. So if there are MCQs and there's negative marking, that means that there's a way to read for those MCQs. There's a way to practice. There's a way to go through past questions. There's the part of where discussion classes come in. So you cannot ignore all of that and just say that you want to read your textbook cover to cover. There's a strategy to reading, which is what that taught me, that there's a strategy to reading. If it is an oral exam, if it is a practical exam, or what we call OSCE, where you go from table to table or station to station, there is a different way to practice that. There's a different way to read for that and to do that among your peers. Sometimes it's what you hear while you're discussing with your peers and not necessarily what you have read that even pops in your mind when the exam comes up. Sometimes it's what you saw in the past question, or even you paying attention in class. You cannot say that I don't want to go to class, I'm going to catch up with the notes. Sometimes it's what they said in class that is actually going to be useful for you. And so I didn't quickly learn that lesson, that there's definitely a way to strategize for exams. There's a definite way. So it's not by reading it just anyhow or trying to read cover to cover or say, yeah, I've read it 4 times. No. And there's a way to retain what you have read. There's a way to concentrate on what you have read. And there's a way to identify your weaknesses. Some people will not assimilate anything in a discussion class. Some people just need to sit down in that discussion class and they're good to go. Some people need to read and then go to discussion classes and then practice. Some people, that's not their style. Just by sitting by themselves is fine. And so eventually I learned that lesson, and then I was able to overcome those challenges of redoing those exams, the emotional pain that came with it or that came with them, and then eventually becoming victorious through all of it. So yes, those were very good lessons learned. Thank you.
That is beautiful. And okay, so I think I would love you to share a bit of those things, those ways you think you've discovered to this reading, because I guess this has made you just more stronger than you are before. So and that will go a long way in helping our girls study better the way they should. Can you?
Okay, so thank you very much for the question. So it meant that when medical school was over, by the time I was going into my 6-year residency and doing my master's, it meant that it almost seemed as if I had become I knew what I was doing. Almost seemed as if I'd become a mini wonder girl, because by 1.5 years into my residency, I'd passed my exams and I'd moved to the next level. Why? Because I saw what my weaknesses were. I could reflect on them and I could see that what I needed wasn't just to read by myself. What I needed was to join myself to people and learn from them and see what people were reading and understand it. And if I didn't understand something, then I needed to ask. So I became not shy to ask questions. I became not shy to go back to meet people, to say, when are you guys meeting in your room? I'd like to please join your discussion classes. I became not shy to link up with the people that, are very good in reading, in understanding stuff. And then I also developed strategies, because I now had to look at myself and say, okay, so if you learned anything from those 6 years, how are you going to bring that forward into these 6 years of residency? So that meant for me that I had to draw personal development goals. I had to make sure that so those goals had stuff like I wanted to ace my postings in residency, do them very well, pay attention during the teaching sessions. It also meant that I divided the textbooks that I needed to read, identified what textbooks I needed to read per posting, what other materials was I supposed to read per posting, talk to the people that had gone ahead of me, that had done those same exams and collected their exam bank questions. So every day, and then write up the reports, get whatever it was I needed, what were things that were required for the exams. And then way before the exams, I joined discussion classes. So even for me, that I wasn't going to do an exam till 2 years' time, immediately they said they started discussion classes for people ahead of my class. I joined them. I wasn't going to discussion. I wasn't talking much there, but I was just listening, paying attention, seeing how people were asking questions and how the questions were being set and how people were answering those questions, and then going back to read. So I did a lot of that reading. I saw that I liked to jot, and if I jotted, I understood better. So I started to jot. I started to get highlighters, anything that would make my studying interesting for me. I started to do all of those things. I like printed stuff instead of stuff that was being read online. So I print out stuff, buy textbooks, paper textbooks, and then read. Block out time, So I learned the power of focus. I learned the power of being able to focus on one thing. So if I wanted to read and I set a timer for 1 hour, I will sit down there and read for that 1 hour. I can reward myself by going to play again for another 3 hours, but I'll come back again. And then I learned how to use, I have a mentor that calls it self-governance, the ability to lead yourself, the ability to govern your life. So I would set alarms. I learned how to use Google calendars to schedule my reading, So I'll block out time, and I knew that I had to cover this. Okay, community medicine or public health, add maybe 13, 14 specialties, and I needed to cover all of them. That meant that I used my personal development plan to now break all of those things into different times that covered the 2 years I needed to do my exams. So, and then there were days that Saturdays were just for past questions, or just doing past questions, and all of that. So by the time I was able to integrate all of those things, soon after, before the time was even due, once exams were to be done, the exams were tough, 600 MCQs, blah, blah, blah. But, with one sitting, I passed the exam. And then in another one sitting, I passed the exit exams. And all of a sudden, I was done, I was done with residency. So it was just the ability to reflect and to now learn and to see what kind of learner am I. Am I a visual learner? Am I one that likes to write? Am I one that likes to do past questions? Is it a mix of also going to places where people are talking about books and all of that? And that worked.
This is beautiful. It is so good to learn this from you. Honestly, I'm learning a lot from this. Maybe I'll have to adopt some of the methods as well. All right. Oh, thank you so much for sharing such. I believe so. Those experiences and challenges has propelled you to becoming a medical doctor and a public physician, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. Well done.
Thank you.
All right. So our next question is, which social problem do you think is most urgently needs to be solved when we talk about girls in STEM?
The ability of girls to go to school and the ability to empower more women to ensure that their kids go to school, especially their girls go to school and stay in school. And so I think it's two-sided for me. I think that more women need to be encouraged to ensure that their girls are going to school, to ensure that their girls stay in school and complete school. And more girls also need to be encouraged to go to school, to stay in school, to focus, and to complete school. And then to be interested in STEM, to dispel the myths around STEM is difficult. If you're in STEM, you don't get to live the soft life. It's creatives that have fun. STEM is very straitjacketed, and the career options are very limited. All of those stereotypes that the current generation doesn't want to enter into. STEM takes a lot of work and all of that. We need to be able to dispel those myths and show that you can be in STEM and have fun.
Of course.
You can be in STEM and live the soft life. You can be in STEM and be a doctor who works in a non-clinical role. You can work on TV. You can work on TV shows. You can consult for governments. You can consult for NGOs. You can decide that you want to go into data work. You can work in big pharma. You can decide to be a speaker and a coach. You can do fun things. So there's no limits. There are no boundaries. You can do remote work. We have medical doctors that are making a lot of dollars from doing remote work. So you do not even have to be in a hospital. And so STEM is not as unattractive as it's made to seem. It's not true at all. There are medical doctors that travel the world. I follow one doctor on Instagram, who's also a Nigerian doctor, female doctor. She has gone to maybe 45 countries. She travels regularly and she still has a practice. She has a practice in the UK. She has a practice in Nigeria. But she also loves to travel. So you can be a doctor and you can be a chef also. You can explore the world. Medicine has taken me to countries that I would never have had any reason to step into, fully funded, to many countries. And I'm not even talking 10. So that means that you can live the life that you want to live. You can do whatever it is that you want to do. And that message has to be reinforced for girls, reinforced also for their family members, so that they don't think that she's going to end up in the kitchen anyway. She's going to end up in a husband's house anyway. Even if you're going to end up in your husband's house, end up in your husband's house in style.
Exactly.
Yes. End up in that kitchen in style. It will make you do things differently. And when you empower a girl and she becomes successful and she becomes a woman and she's raising her own family, she's able to make better choices, healthier choices for her family. It's that kind of girl that grows into an empowered woman that ensures that her children get vaccines, that ensures that her own children also go to school because she wants them to do better, that ensures that the children are also able to get into careers where they're proud of, where they're able to have the kind of life that they want, and they're also able to impact society. And so it's something that's very passionate, that it's always very much on my mind, because at the end of the day, I always tell girls I engage here, I've been engaging girls since 2016. And one thing I always say to them is that if you decide to play around and fool around or whatever it is that you're doing with your life, if you get pregnant, for instance, and you're in SS2, my girls always laugh when I say this, and you're in SS2, that boy is not going to carry that pregnancy with you.
Exactly.
You are going to have to do those 9 months, and you will not be able to do your SSC when he's doing his. And then when you have the child, you're not going to drop that child and walk away. You're going to stay back and breastfeed that child. So we're talking about 1 year, 1 to 2 years, you're going to be back. By the time you're done, the guy has gone to the university. By the time you're talking to him, he's probably in 200 level or 300 level, and you're going back to go and do your SSC. You're no longer on the same level. He's no longer attracted to you like that, except in rare occasions, maybe the 1% where it was true love. You guys are not vibing on the same level anymore. He's already an undergraduate. You are still a potential secondary school dropout. Your conversations are no longer the same. You are concerned about the child. You want to get food for this, diapers. Then you're thinking of going back for your SSCE. You're struggling with everything, parents, societal stigma, all of that. He has there's nothing that concerns him with all of that. He has moved on with his life. If he has conscience, then he may check on you once in a while. If he doesn't, you're your own. And by the time you're now going to say that you want to catch up with your life, he's gone.
Honestly.
And the likelihood of him coming back to you is 1%. So that's why when we're making those choices, for the girls, it's way more important. For the girl, it's way more, it has a lot more attached to it. And coming into STEM gives you the opportunities. STEM offers you a lot of stability, offers you a lot of flexibility, offers you the ability to think critically, offers you the ability of so many people have gone ahead of you doing what you're doing. So you have paths, and then you can innovate your way around it. And so it's definitely something that the society needs to work on. And it's definitely a societal problem that we definitely need to tackle, encouraging women and girls to go to school, stay in school, engage in STEM, careers and STEM education. And also, I'm not telling your girl that if she becomes a doctor, who will marry her. If she an engineering is a man's job, or being a pilot is too ambitious. There's nothing like that. There's absolutely nothing like that.
Nothing.
Like the ceilings, the glass ceilings are there to be shattered. The tables are there to be totally brought down. The records are there to be broken. You can be anything something that you so desire to be. And there's nobody that gains from you being a local champion. There's nobody that gains from you playing small. It may be that one thing that you discover in STEM that will help a million girls live a better life. It may be that girl that they don't want to do medicine or that they don't want to do something in tech that may eventually develop the app that ensures that girls are able to walk freely and safely at night, so that if they are going, they can just press a panic button and then nobody's able to rape them. That panic button sends a message straight to a telecoms provider or straight to the security outfit, and then they're protected. It may be that one girl that you don't want to study medicine that will find the cure for cancer. Just that one. So the potentials and the ramifications are so immense that you limiting that person and saying no. So you can do quite a number of things like I've said together. And I strongly believe that, doing some of those things, addressing both the women and the girls, dispelling the myths, and encouraging people to focus on STEM careers, and then allowing them to see, modeling those who are already in those careers and allowing them to see what is happening, like what happens with your network. I think it's also a very good thing to see that whatever they think is possible in their minds is truly very possible.
Wow, that's great. Thank you so much for that. All right, so our next question is, are there skills required to becoming a public health physician? If any, can you share with us?
Excellent question. So, of course, there are skills. So, to becoming a public health physician means that you're first of all a doctor. So that means that you have to go to school, get into the science class, do your exams, pass the exams for leaving secondary school, pass the UTME exams if you're in Nigeria, or any other exams that are post-high school, and then getting an admission into a school where you're able to study medicine and surgery. That usually will last for about 6 years. And that takes a lot. It's not so much as brilliance, but as tenacity, commitment, and focus. So you see average people that go to medical school and are still able to make it and do excellently well. Because what talent without the focus and the discipline, you're going to flunk out of medical school. And that focus and discipline alongside talent, then it's good. So that means that you need to be able to train like that wherever it is that you want to train to become a physician. And then once that is done, that means then that depending on where you are, if you're in Nigeria, you need to serve, you need to do your house job and then serve. And then once you're done with that, then you need to look into what the postgraduate options are for you to becoming a public health physician. So there are different pathways. You can go the master's route, get a master's in public health, which many people do. And then from that, they're able to work with different places, NGOs, agencies. They can set up their own consulting services as public health physicians. They can work on grants. They can work as researchers and all of that. Some people will go the residency route, which will take you like another 6 years, where you train in public health, different components of it. You do exams to enter, you do exams midway, you do exams at the end of it, and then you become a fellow of public health, depending on the college, wherever you are. And then, so those are the two major pathways. And then some people will do a lot of diplomas, do different degrees that bring them into the public health space. And so for some, they work in hospitals like I do. For some people, they will work in NGOs. Some other people would work with development agencies, different things. Some people will just go on to become speakers or coaches, or they just work on programs. They work from one program to another, work on one program to another. And there are many specialties in it. So some people will work with multinationals, they work as the public health physician in maybe somewhere like Shell or Chevron or any of those oil and gas companies. Yes, some people will work. So there's a lot that can be. Some people will work with airlines. Some people will work with huge banks and all of that, and just be the public health physician that is on ground, available to attend to people, maybe at the Apex Bank in their countries. And some people who actually work with governments, working on policies at the ministries of health and all of that. Some people who work at the public health institutes, like we have NCDC in Abuja or the CDC in Atlanta and all of that. So, and people are able to work. Some will go on to become university lecturers, teaching another generation of students in public health. So yeah, so there are so many ways, and some people straddle 2, 3, 4 of this. They consult in government, they teach in the university, they work in the hospital, and yet they're able to also work on grants. So yeah, so the opportunities are limitless and the paths are also varied.
All right, thank you so much for that. All right, so our next question is, when you were a student, did you feel any peer pressure, especially because you're a woman? If there was any, how did you overcome it? And what advice would you give to girls who are also struggling in that area? And then how to overcome the obstacles and challenges that are standing barriers.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for the question. Okay. So one thing I mentioned today while I was talking was something called self-governance.
Yes.
And that's the ability to lead yourself. That's the ability to govern your life by the principles that you've learned, the principles that you've imbibed, and driven by the vision you have for yourself. It means, therefore, that peer pressure will come to everyone. Peer pressure can be good or bad. You can have friends that pressure you to read. You can have friends that pressure you to go to fellowship. You can have friends that pressure you to be the best version of yourself. And you can have those that all the pressure is for is to cause you to smoke, to drink, to party, to do, to engage in different behaviors, some destructive, to become someone that gambles and all of that. At the end of the day, I believe that every girl must have within them a compass that leads them and driven by the vision of what they want for their lives. As a very young girl, I always knew that I wanted to live a successful life. I always knew that I wanted to become a medical doctor. So that meant that there were peers that automatically could not become my friends because we did not share the same values. Exactly. They could be my classmates, they could be my colleagues, they could be acquaintances, but they could never be my friends because I would not allow them to bring that pressure, negative pressure, into my space. And so, because it's not, if you're standing on the edge of it, if you are standing on the edge of a staircase, it's easier for somebody, it's very easy for someone that is down to pull you.
Exactly.
And make you tumble. It's very easy.
Yes.
It's so super easy. You think that, no, it's easy. If you are on a hill, it's easier for someone that is down to pull you down than for you on a hill to pull somebody else up. And so that was always something that if someone is going to go down, they're going to go down with you. And so, and there are also people that, that if I start to do these things and I get into these vices, is the day that I go into my own that we're going to get caught. And so the ability to make your informed choices lies essentially with you. You have the capacity. Every girl has the capacity and ability within them to decide that this is what I want to do with my life. And because 80% of the girls in my class are doing this, does not mean it is what I want to do. And so sometimes it's the power of powerful modeling. Sometimes it's what you've heard in your place of worship. Sometimes it's what you've seen an adult do and you've seen the outcomes. Sometimes it's just that thing within you that you just refuse to go down that way. And it's always good to surround, deliberately or observe people. Don't just call everybody your friends. Observe people, observe how they move, observe the things they do, observe the results from their lives. allow yourself and your life to be a sacred space that not anybody can come in and just drag you and do anything to you. You will need to be able to honor and respect the sovereignty of yourself. So every girl needs to realize that I just don't allow people into my space anyhow. I just don't allow people into my head anyhow. I just don't allow people to push me in a direction that I don't want to go. If I'm not comfortable with something, even if it seems to be good, it necessarily is not expedient for me to do it. So the fact that everybody maybe wants to go for something and doesn't seem to be bad in itself, it still doesn't make it right for you. So having your own mind, making up your own mind, and that comes through what? Interacting with superior knowledge.
Exactly.
Interacting with superior knowledge. So it's good for girls to read. It's good for you to consume materials that help you know that this is right and this is wrong. It's good for you to interact with superior knowledge. Look at people, look at the lives of those aunties on your streets. Look at the life of your mom. Look at the life of your elder sisters. Look at the life of your seniors in school and learn lessons. Don't just hear stories. Don't just read things on Instagram and then or TikTok. Look at them and be able to have a mind of your own. Making the stresses. Many times when we're trying to do some of those wrong things and we're saying that it's people that are putting pressure on us, sometimes in ourselves, we already know that what I'm about to do is not it. But you're just saying that you don't want to stand out. You don't want them to pick on you. You don't want to be bullied, which I understand. And those are things that can definitely happen to you because you don't. But you also have to have self-agency. You need to be able to tell yourself that I don't care. Even if a lot of people are doing this, I'm just going to be focused because I know what the end result is. For some people, it's because I know how my parents struggled to put this money together to get me to this school. So sometimes it's just the mercy you want to have on your parents. Sometimes it's yourself that because I know I just need to have mercy on myself and go to school. If I go and get pregnant by mistake, that's the end of the schooling. If I go and if they catch me smoking shisha or whatever somewhere, there has to be something that is at stake for you.
Exactly.
You cannot just believe that you can just live your life anyhow because you've seen some people live it anyhow. Not everyone gets away with it, though.
Yes,
not everybody gets away with it. Some people will smoke all their lives. I mean, public health doctors. Some people smoke all their lives. Nothing will happen. Some people will smoke for 1 year. They will develop lung cancer. How do you know it? You cannot, So some of those things, it's about ensuring, in summary, I think it's about ensuring that you're able to self-govern. It's about ensuring that you surround yourself with the right people. It's about not being ashamed to retrace your steps when you see that you've gone too far. Not being afraid to cut off. Many of the people that you think that you're trying to impress, many of the people that I was with in primary, secondary school, I have no idea where they are now. Many of those people that you think that you're trying to impress in uni, in 20 years' time, it won't matter because they won't even know where you are. Yes, and you will not know where they are. Yeah. So that temporary thing that you think that you're doing and everybody's looking at you like a big girl and you've done 15 abortions and you're proud of it. You're not, there's nobody that you're impressing with your life.
Of course.
At the end of the day, because in 15 years' time, nobody cares whatever. You can smoke 2 pots of shisha in 1 hour. Give it 10 years, none of those people in school will remember. Everybody will have gone their different ways. And you alone are going to live with the consequences of those choices. Those people that you said that you were your peers and they were putting pressure on you, in 10 years' time, you will not find them anywhere. And so we must always remember, life is one by one. Your life is one. And so choose your friends wisely.
Thank you so much. This is beautiful advice for our girls. And please, I hope all of us out there are listening and we're learning from this. Okay, so our next question is, how can we increase young women and girls' participation in STEM? And are there are there any scholarships and other opportunities for young girls and young women out there in pursuing a career in STEM?
Yeah, absolutely. Good question. So I think that there are many things that we can do to encourage girls to be in STEM, come to STEM, stay in STEM. Education is one, widespread education, like what you're doing, YouTube, in school, out of school, adolescents, targeting parents, sometimes talking about it at PTA meetings, engaging the girls themselves, girls club, girl meetings, girl coaching, wherever girls are gathered, houses of worship, not being hesitant to take it to them. Even those that are out of school, that are in apprenticeships, we're able to talk to them. Social media, that different means that we can use to engage girls to come to STEM, to stay in STEM, making it attractive, using role models, using the modeling system that also allows them to see those possible paths that are available, dispelling the myths for them, encouraging their parents to encourage them to stay in school. Sometimes it's even up to engaging their fathers in PTA meetings, houses of worship, where men gather, men targeted interventions that help them to also think about engaging their girls in STEM. Having STEM clubs in schools, having STEM clubs that are out of school that also showcase what is possible, what is happening and what is possible. Also engaging the girls themselves, having proper conversations with them, co-designing interventions with them, especially those that are already in the STEM space, creating opportunities where girls can interact with people that are already in STEM. Those are many ways, having shows, radio shows, TV shows, doodle videos on WhatsApp that can pass from parents to parents, that girls can pass across in their schools or whatever, that can move all those broadcast messages. You can do one nice doodle video that talks about STEM careers or how to enter STEM or the possibilities in it, and then allow our daddies and mommies to broadcast it everywhere. You know, they send it from one person to another and it goes. The use of Facebook, Twitter, Threads, any of those things. Having STEM ambassadors in schools, you know, having STEM ambassadors for those that are out of school, so that girls are able to engage, ask their questions about getting into STEM. Even the use of AI, whether it's a bot or WhatsApp body that they can ask questions, have FAQs, that the chat body system is able to answer their questions regarding STEM and the possibilities. I think many of these things are strategies that could be used to encourage girls to come into STEM and to stay into STEM.
Wow, this is amazing. Thank you so much. It is so good to learn about this. And we'll be moving to the next question. Okay, so our next question says, what job and career opportunities are there for young women and girls aspiring or who want to study same thing as you, maybe in the medical field or public health, embarking on this journey of becoming a physician and all. So what job or career opportunities are there for girls who are aspiring or want to study public health in the sector?
Okay, so thank you. I think I answered that a bit before. So there are many career opportunities that are available. They can work virtually, they can work hybrid, they can work remotely, they can work within hospitals, whether it is in data collection, they can work in research, they can decide to do clinical work. They can decide to do work that is non-clinical, where it's purely public health. They can decide to become lecturers. They can teach, set questions, do case studies and all of that. They can work in the development space. So NGOs, international NGOs, they can work with multinational agencies, can consult for governments, They can decide that they want to be researchers. They can work with big pharma. They can work with industries and all of that. And then they have the opportunity to also become thought leaders. They can do quite a number of these things together or in different combinations and all of that. And then they can become, some people even become public health doctors and become influencers. They become health influencers. They're able to carve a niche for themselves and all of that. Some become speakers. Some people can become coaches. There are paid opportunities that people can go for, and all of that. And some just grow in research, rise to become professors and all of that. So there are too many opportunities, vast opportunities. So the opportunities to learn, the scholarships that are available, many scholarships are available online, resources are available just by sitting with Google sometimes and just typing in the questions or putting it in there. You'll be able to generate so many things that can help you forge your career. Yeah. Even if it's AI, great. You can ask questions and all of that. Yes.
That's great. Thank you so much. Okay, so what would you consider to be your greatest achievement being a woman in this field?
My greatest achievement. Okay, so between 2016 and 2022 December, I'd reached 4,000 girls, adolescent girls, talking to them about engaging them on the prevention of non-communicable diseases. So I developed this curriculum. I've gone to schools, I've gone to orphanages, I've gone to different places, talking to girls, adolescent girls, about health, the prevention of disease, taking care of themselves, all of those things. 4,000 is a lot. And I think that's probably my my biggest achievement till date. It makes me happy when I meet those girls. It makes me glad when I see them. I obviously will not recognize most of them anymore, but I might be going sometimes and I hear, Dr. Toby, I'm in UI now. I'm like, okay. And then they're like, hey, you came to our school I'm like, oh. And just because of that, they decided to stay in school. Just because of that, they decided to stop smoking. Just because of that, they decided to take, their sexual and reproductive life a little more seriously. Just because of that, they decided to cut out. Just because of that, they stopped seeing that uncle that they used to go and see on their street. Really? Those stories are always very interesting to me and always unexpected, because you always meet them in the most unlikely, unexpected places. So even if it was just one girl that was impacted by all those going around, setting up meetings with their schools or with their guardians, deploying the curriculum, teaching them, getting feedback. If it was just one girl, that I was able to help make a better choice for our life, then that would be that's my life's greatest achievement, and I'm grateful and humbled to have been able to do that. Yeah.
Wow, that's an applause for you. Well done. All right. Okay, so in Nigeria, currently facing various health insecurities. What has been your contribution with your field of study? What have you contributed to solving this problem, the global crisis around, most especially in Nigeria?
Okay, so that's a good question. And I think it's also a very interesting question. So my work has been in non-communicable diseases prevention, tobacco control, and then sexual and reproductive health. So what have I done? Well, some of the papers I've written have been cited in other papers, used for other research, used to advance science, used to advance the knowledge of what is happening in the country, used to see what else needs to be done regarding some of the topics that I've covered in those papers. That's on one hand. On the second hand, I think that engaging those girls has also helped maybe a few girls to make a few healthier, better choices for themselves and for their friends. My work in tobacco control has seen me with my mentor train other doctors on how to counsel people regarding how to quit smoking, and all of that. And many of those doctors who have previously did not know how to engage patients, how to talk with them, where to send them to, because we don't have many smoking cessation places in Nigeria. And we have even very fewer smoking experts or tobacco control experts in the country, like myself. That has given many people the opportunity to engage, to ask questions, to know where to look for the resources that are available to them, and to help people quit. To actually help some people quit. For the 2 years of COVID, between March 2020 and March 2022, worked with the state, developed maybe 12 advisories for the states, used in churches, used in mosques, used in schools, engaged CAN, engaged multiple organizations from CAN to the Association of Hairdressers in Oyo State. All of this was Oyo State. To the hairdressers, to NURTW, to the people that drove bikes, up to I was on at least 60 media appearances on TV and on radio in those 2 years, while I still co-led the risk communication activities for the state. So that meant that the jingles that were going out, the stickers that were pasted in different places, I was on top of all of that, ensuring that all of those things were coming out and all of that. So that's some of the work that I've done. I've had the opportunity to present in different conferences and different places around the world, share the work that I've done also, which people have been able to look at, critique, leverage on, take further, and use also to strengthen their own research or to give them ideas to further do some of the things that we've done. Some of the activities that I do are also useful for the hospital that I work in. So at the global level, at the national level, there are communication plans, there are plans on tobacco control that I help with, I work on teams with to get done. I've trained in over 8 states for one of the agencies at national level also, where I'm a national level master trainer for one of their programs. So I've trained with other master trainers, possibly trained over 200 health workers across 8 states in Nigeria on this particular program, which is still currently running nationwide. So at the hospital level, work is being done. Also teach medical students. I teach and lecture master students in global health. And so some of the work that they've done, some of the research that they've done, I've been involved in all of those. And then there are also the community engagement activities. We still did we got a funded project last year, a grant, where we went into Yemetu community in Ibadan, and where we were able to fish out undiagnosed hypertensives in the community, people that had hypertension, but were just sitting in their homes with elevated blood pressures. I'm able to get so many of them in that particular community, ensure that we're able to get them to the hospital where they could get the care that they require. So a lot of work has been done so far.
Wow.
And then, beautiful. So I think that's it so far.
Well done for the great work you're doing.
Thank you.
All right. Lastly, before we round up, our time is already fast spent. Okay, so last question is during your studies, were there some kind of enthusiasm programs or something that's kept you pushing, or you would say this is a particular, maybe a program that you have to just follow up with, to just keep you building, something enticing, whether something of that nature while in school?
Was there anything like that? So I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not very sure. I loved to be in what was my school fellowship then. So the fact that I could always go back after we had done all things that we were doing, I could go there on Sunday, I could teach, I could learn, I could meet other people. I think I found that very nice for me. residency, I think that the opportunity to train in other places, apart from where I was training in Ibadan, go to other schools, learn in other places across the world. I think it was also maybe the enticing part of it for me. Public health gives you the opportunity to go to different places. You go to meetings, you go to conferences, you learn from other people, you get trained in this and trained in that and all of that. And so I think that for me, that was it was stressful. It was going to those places and then you had to prepare to go to those places and then come back and all of that. But I think that it's probably one thing I like the most about public health, the flexibility and the endless opportunities that you get to learn and to share. Yes.
Wow, that's great. That's great. Thank you so much for your time. And I will actually have to to have you again on another, maybe on the subsequent episodes, where we'll have a full house that is maybe in a school directly with the girls in some of the school. So thank you so much for honoring our invitation and for coming on the call. We've actually learned a lot overall from what you've shared with us. I've been able, I believe our girls will be able to build up their self-confidence and will begin to make informed decisions and choices for themselves. That is, just like you mentioned, realizing the essentials of their lives and how to govern it, which is very, very important because a lot of our girls out there are not able to, maybe because they don't have people close to them that could speak with them, which is a reason why African Girls Empowerment Network is doing this. This initiative was set up to ensure that girls have right and direct access to the right information, and that will build them up, their aspirations and zeal to excel in these STEM fields and then do their best. Also, at least we had school clubs in schools. We also have the mentoring programs, that is the STEM Girls and STEM Women Mentoring Program, still on the STEM Girls Initiative. And then we also have a class, mathematics class, a virtual class of math, where math is made simple and simplified for young girls to be able to learn at ease and overcome the fear of math. Because we know from a close range, having been interacting with these girls, we've come to realize that a lot of them have been having a lot of fears for science and all. And with since the inception of STEM Girls Initiative, since the initiation of STEM Girls Initiative in 2019, there have been a lot of changes, and we've been seeing that a lot of girls are quite making it well, performing well in school. And also, yeah, we are really happy. And it's good to also learn that you would also you have been making great impact also in the lives of many out there, young girls and others. So thank you so much for coming on the call and for sharing this. And so, we'll be, for those of us that would love to, a lot of people might be saying age network, what are they focused at? And I believe we'd love to share a bit about the focus areas of age network, just like you can see on the screen, on girls' education through our STEM Girls Initiative, governance and leadership through our Vert for Women Initiative. We also have child marriage prevention through our Bele by Choice, and then that also had to do with sexual and reproductive health and rights. We also have the good health and well-being through our aged care. And then we also have prevention of TB and HIV from mother to child. These are all programs of age and where we focus at, and to seeing that we are able to deliver the right services to our women, because we want to see that our drive as an organization is to see that young women and girls are on equal footings with men, and that is where our focus is. For the STEM Girls Initiative talk show, STEM Girls Talk Show is a mission is to encourage, promote participation of young girls in STEM, and also to hear the stories of young women, just like we've just heard from an amazing woman today. And also they're able to ask their questions. Of course, we're because of time, we'll be expecting more questions from the girls, and then we'll be sending to the speaker, to the mentor, to throw more light on them, and then they'll be forwarded to the girls. And so basically our mission is to inspire, connect, and then to also give answers to these girls, to the questions of these girls, because they might be having a lot of challenges. And of course, connecting them with these women who have made their marks in these fields will help them go a long way. So for those of us that have schools, and then maybe running some kind of programs for girls, and you want to integrate STEM girls to it, you can always, you want these girls to become STEM girls, you can always reach us. So you can also become a STEM girl mentor, a volunteer. You can also become a partner or friend of STEM girls. You can become a donor. You can become STEM Girls Ambassador. You can also reach us here, and we want to say, I believe we've all learned a lot from today's episode, and we look forward to receiving more questions from our girls out there. Do you know you have a challenge and you want to reach out to one of these amazing women to put you through, to walk you through this journey as you're aspiring to forge for STEM? You can reach us via an email on the screen, or you can follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, Instagram, and or chat us up on WhatsApp. You can see our lines on the screen. So once again, I want to say a very big thank you to our mentor. Thank you very much, ma'am, for coming on the call. And we're really, really excited, and we are glad having you today.
Thank you for having me. I'm grateful, and well done on all the great work.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So we would love to also add you to the mentors. We have a WhatsApp group for the mentors. So where we'll be adding you, just permit us to add you to the WhatsApp group. So in most cases, we have girls assigning to some of the mentors to follow them up and then coach them, see them through the journey. All right, so we'll call it up here. So we'll look forward to meeting quite a number of you again, joining the show on our next episode next week. Yeah, thank you. Bye. Thank you, Ma. Bye. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Have a lovely weekend.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.